Zak-Z-Ninja here, and today I'll be showing you guys when to shift for like the optimal power usage of your car. Because sometimes people think it's best to shift as late as possible. Sometimes it is, but it depends on the car and the power curve. Like in this car I'm using now, it has quite a red line. It's not like too much, but I'll show you on the drag strip. So this will be shifting as late as possible, which is what a lot of people do. See, it's pretty fast. My Ghost is quite consistent with the launch and how fast I am with it. So that's pretty much the best you can do, like when you're shifting as late as possible. I beat my time, but I maybe got a slightly better launch. Anyway, so this time I'll be shifting earlier. So about just after halfway into the red line where it's possible to shift, and as you can see, every time I shift up I'm pulling away, and I've got about a car length in front, and this will add up a lot in time trials and could be the difference between beating someone and not beating them in online by like a couple fractions of a second. It adds up over longer races, and well, maybe then you're thinking, well, red line, you might not want to go into that, so just like shift pretty much straight away then, right? Like shifting a bit into red line, but it is a little bit faster actually, but not quite as fast as what we did before. So this might look a bit confusing, like how you're supposed to know when you're supposed to shift. Well, doing races like that can help in drag, just testing it basically and seeing what best time you get. But you can also do it by looking at the telemetry. Well, it's a combination of both really. So when I get here, press it by the D-pad down or whatever you have on keyboard, and in general it says the power. So look, whenever I shift up, I increase power, then the power starts to decrease, like 550 is the max, and it starts decreasing. And at that point I'm in red line and it's decreasing. So a lot of people didn't know this, it might be obvious to some, but the max power of the car isn't at the max revs, and you want to know where that max power is in order to get the best shift time or best location to shift in the RPMs. So as you can see, it starts dropping after about 6,000 roughly. For this car anyway, and which is why I shift like a bit into red line, so I'm increasing power when I shift but not losing so much. This car is quite different, it makes max power different RPM range. So right now I'll just launch it with the telemetry on. So it makes looks like it's about 690, but whenever I shift up it instantly decreases, it doesn't increase whatsoever. So that means whenever I shift up, it's already not at max power, it's already losing it. So to look here where it is, it seems to be about 5,000. As you can see here, when I go up to 5 there, I'll show it on screen. Makes 700 horsepower at 5,000. So look, whenever I shift up, it seems to be below 5,000. If I start maxing out the revs, look here. Even if I shift there, it's going to 5,000, like I'm shifting quite early. So this is probably where you want to be shifting in this car, but if you use it, you should maybe test it on the drag strip and see what times are the best. because it can be quite confusing when you need to, even when looking at this elementary. Right, off to a different car, the Portugalia. This one's got a more straight power curve. It's like not as high RPM, high power as the other ones. It's more linear. Anyway, so this seems to stick at about 600 horsepower and doesn't really decrease too much for quite a lot of RPM, which is quite a good sign for like a nice engine if you can get one like that, if it doesn't cost too much PI. Anyway, so this seems to make max horsepower about 5,500, then like slowly decreases. So even if you're shifting quite early, it can be, you know, still making max power. Even if you think, oh, I'm not revving it that much, it might not be making max power. It does, even quite low. So especially in this car, like if you're doing cross country, you can shift when you jump, and then when you land, you're still making max power, and you've just eliminated the shift time. Anyway, this is the power curve of this car. See, it's from about 5.5, it makes max power, and it doesn't look like it decreases, but it actually does, so don't always trust the power curve. And on the Pagani, you can see here, about 5,000 is where it makes 700 horsepower, and then it looks like it only very slightly decreases, but it actually decreases quite a lot if you were looking earlier. Decreases by maybe like 30 horsepower or so, which can be quite significant. So shifting at the right time and using the right amount of gears can help a lot with increasing the efficiency of your engine's horsepower. Well, thank you for watching, and if that helped, and goodbye.